Hello, welcome to the first video in this series on using Joomla 3. What you see right here is the default template and sample data that comes with a fresh installation of Joomla 3. If you're not sure how to get to this point, you can see earlier videos in our Web Design Zoo series where we talk about web hosting. Okay, so we have the sample data, the default image that came with this template, and down here we have some links to the Joomla documentation site and the Joomla forums. So I would definitely bookmark those. What we're going to do is actually get rid of all this stuff here in a moment, though. So the plan is we're going to build a content-rich site about vintage motorcycles. We're going to have image galleries, category blogs, lots of images, videos, all kinds of fun stuff here. It's going to be the site's going to have a lot of content specifically so that we can show the real power of using Joomla. And of course, Joomla is known as a content management system, or a CMS. And really, the ability to manage and organize lots of content is really what makes using a CMS so powerful. And so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so right now we are looking at the front end. This is what the world sees. And what we want to do is get to the back end where we can manage all the content, okay? So we're going to get to our control panel. And how we do that is whatever your web address is, you just type in /administrator. There we go, /administrator. Okay, and there's my username, Zoo City Racers, and I type in my password. And here's the control panel, and you're going to get to know this really well. Okay, so there's always a couple of ways to do everything inside of Joomla, which is nice because you can just kind of get your own workflow going, okay? Just like if any of you are familiar with Photoshop, there's always 10 ways to do the same thing, and you just get your own workflow down. Okay, Joomla is similar to that. For example, I can go up here to System, Global Configuration, or as long as I'm on the control panel page, I can go to Configuration, Global Configuration, which is what we're going to do, is go to Global Configuration. Now I've already named my site when I set it up, so there we go, Zoo City Racers. Go ahead and just leave everything for now. We'll work our way through everything, so there's no reason to hit you with too much information you don't need to get going with being creative and building your website. Definitely don't mess with any of the settings over here for now, okay? Why I'm showing you this page, though, is that first off, you can, if you didn't set up the name of your website, go ahead and do that now. And also, see this option to turn your site offline? You can actually take your site offline, okay? It'll still be, well, technically it'll still be online, but you won't be able to access it, okay, unless you are logged in. So if you're building a portfolio or a website and it's half built or you're just testing things and you don't want to share it with the world, you can actually set it to off. However, if you are working with clients or people that you need to be sharing it with, or an instructor, you're going to need to give them a username and password. And you can actually set them up here in users and just create a new user with a new username and password. And that way people can still access the site when it's off. When it is offline, what people will see when they go to your web address is the custom message. In my case, this would just say, "The site is down for maintenance, please check back again." Okay, I'm going to leave this site live, but just as a heads up, a lot of people like to know about that. Let's see, what else? We're going to come back here, so there's really quite a bit, actually, so there's no need to dive too deep into what's all here at this moment, okay? Yeah, so anyway, site offline, something you might like, and of course the site name is something you might like. And then any changes that you make here, you hit this green button right here to save. And you can see it lets me know that everything is saved, and I can go ahead and keep making more changes and then click save again. Or if I've made enough, I can and I'm done, I can hit save and close. Okay, there we go. So that was global configuration. Okay, so let's look at our front end again. Okay, so we have this content right here, the getting started content, which I'd like to get rid of. And obviously that's linked to this menu item here called home, okay? And if we click on home, of course, it just takes us to zoocityracers.com, which is the only menu item that we have at this point. And where that is located is in your article manager. Okay, so if you're on the control panel page, you can actually go right here to article manager. Okay, and here's the getting started. Okay, and this getting started is this getting started right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. So see how this says getting started right there? That's the title, all right? For example, watch this. If I just type in here, hello, okay, and save. Come over here and refresh the site, and there's my hello, right? Okay, kind of silly, but that's how easy it is. However, I'm going to hit save and close. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this article. All right, so there's a bunch of different ways you can do that, but one way is to just select it, and notice you have a bunch of different options up here. You can unpublish something, or you can trash it. Okay, now if you unpublish it, it simply won't be a published article that's viewable on your site. And honestly, unpublishing articles is a really good idea as opposed to trashing them, because let's say you're working for a client and they say, get rid of that article, I don't want it, and you do, and then they call you 20 minutes later and say, I changed my mind. You know, you already trashed it. So unpublishing it will just keep it in an unpublished state. Now, even if you trash the article, like I'm going to trash this article, and it seems like it's gone, but it's really not. If I select status here and say show me my trashed items, I have a couple of trashed items here. Okay, I had a testing one I was playing with earlier, and then here's that article that we were just looking at. Now I'm going to go ahead and select both of those and hit empty trash. Okay, so it functions the same way as like the trash on my dock here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit empty trash. Okay, and let's go ahead and see what happened now. If I go to our site, and we get the requested page cannot be found error message. Okay, and this is pretty common, and this happens to a lot of people right away. And so I think it's great to just start out trashing the articles we know we don't want and dealing with this first error message. Okay, it's really easy to fix, and we'll take it from here. All right, so I'm going to go back into the backside of Joomla. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to first off, I'm going to just create an article, assign it to the home menu, and then we'll have a nice new homepage, okay? And then after that, we're going to dive into the real order in which you should be creating everything. And that's that you should create categories, then create articles, then create menus. But this always pops up first, okay? So, because all you got to do is delete that article you think you don't want, and here you go with an error message. So let's go ahead and fix that right away. So I'm going to come up here to content and add a new article. Okay, and so I'm just going to put in welcome. Okay, and this will be our home page here. And I'm just going to put in some intro text here. And, you know, to be honest, it really doesn't matter what I put here because I usually don't have a lot of text on the front of these sites. Once we get going, we're actually going to get rid of, you know, the pictures that are going to show up here. And I'm probably going to have a nice big image right here. I have some big areas down here to click on to get to news and events or different parts of the site. And then I'm going to reserve a real write-up about the site for the About button here. But for now, I just have this little intro that I wrote here, just as like a placeholder for the front, okay? And we'll just, you know, and for now I'm going to leave this in an uncategorized category, okay? And that'll all make sense in a bit here. I'm just setting up a default home page. Okay, so I'm going to hit save and close. Okay, now if I come over here and refresh, it's still not going to do anything. Okay, now the reason why is because this menu item here, the home menu item, needs to be linked to the article we just set up. Okay, so let's do that next. So I'm going to come up here to menus, main menu, and just click on that. And we see this here, this home is this home. Okay, now I'm going to click on that, and the menu type is a single article. And it says select an article. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select an article. And we have one article now because we trashed that other one, and that's welcome. Okay? And I'm going to hit save and close. We're going to get back to all this stuff in a minute. This just pops up a lot with everybody, so I figure it's good to just trash that article, break the site, and fix it right away. Look at that, easy as can be. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is not a vintage motorcycle. But it's a nice image, and it's the one that just comes with the Joomla 3 template, this particular template. And we're going to get into templates and images and all that coming up. Don't worry. But for now, instead of having all that sample data and, instead of having a broken homepage, we now have our first menu item linked to the welcome page, okay? Or the welcome article that we have on this front homepage, okay? So, let's take it from here. So coming back to my main control panel, let's talk about what we see here, okay? Now, in the content area, we have the ability to create articles, right? Or go to the manager that'll manage all those articles. And we can go to a category manager, and of course a media manager. A media manager is where we will keep all of our images. Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to take us to the category manager. And let's talk about categories. Okay, now let's go back to my sitemap here, my map. Okay, now, so I know that I want to have an about category. I want to have a motorcycle category. I want to have some child categories here of American, Japanese, and British bikes. And I want to have a gallery category and a news and events category with an early innovations category and a races and competitions category. Okay, and we'll set up a contact page later. Now, you want to create your categories first, okay? And that doesn't mean you can't go back and create more later, okay? Because who knows, maybe I'm going to want to throw some really nice German motorcycles in here as well or something. You know, I can make more categories later. But you want to create your categories first because your articles have to be assigned to a category. Did you notice when we created our welcome page, it automatically assigned it to the uncategorized category? It's kind of a weird name that Joomla names the category uncategorized because it's still a category. The uncategorized category. You must have everything in a category, okay? And this is actually one of the powers of using a content management system is these types of organizational tools, okay? Because, you know, you can easily have a site that has 10, 20, or hundreds of pages, okay, with dozens of subjects. So the ability to start to separate these makes managing this content much easier. Okay, so let's go ahead and make some categories. So see this green button right here? It's that easy actually. You just select that. And I'm going to create an about category. Okay. I don't need to put any description in here right now, okay? And I want this about category to be separate so I can separate the content that I'm going to put on my about page from my, motorcycles and galleries, okay? So we have an about. And see over here where it says parent? This one's going to have no parent, okay? But if we look at our sitemap here, the American category is a child of the parent category here of motorcycles, okay? And same here, right? The news and events is the parent here of the early innovations category, okay? But in this case, about, I just want to have about as its own category with no parent, okay? So that's all I need to do, nice and easy. And I can either save, and then it will be saved, but then I can make more edits. Of course, I can always go back to it later. Save and close, which will bring me back to the category manager, or save and new, which will save this one, which is what I'm going to do, and give me another blank category area where I can create another category. Okay, and it looks like the next one is going to be motorcycles, right? So go ahead and just slap that in there, motorcycles. And yeah, same deal here, no parent, motorcycles, no problem. And then save and new again. And what are we going to do here? We're going to copy American. Okay. Being nice and lazy and just cut and pasting everything. Okay, so American. And now American's going to be different because American is going to be a child of motorcycles. So now see, the parent is motorcycles, okay? Because this is about American motorcycles. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit save and new. And what's next on our list? Japanese. Okay. And okay, and again, the parent will be motorcycles, and this is in no particular order here. I'm just going down the list, and then save and new, and then we have oh, we have British next. Okay, easy enough. And there we go. And again, that's going to be child of motorcycles. All right. And let's do save and new. And I know the next one is gallery. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Gallery. And no parent for that. Okay, and save and new. And let's see. I'm not going to call it news and events blog. I'm just going to call it news and events. But I'm being descriptive here because that's really what's going to happen. Okay, news and events. No parent. Okay. Why no parent? Because it is a parent. It has some children. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do save and new. And the next one I have here is early innovations. Early innovations. Okay, and that is a child of news and events. Okay, so its parent is news and events. And we'll do save and new. What do I have next? Competitions, races and competitions. Okay. Can you see where we're going with that? We're going to have some hill climbs. It's going to be pretty sweet. All right, so there we go. Races and competitions. And the parent will be news and events. All right. And, oh, let's do save and close and see what we've done so far. Did I miss anything? No, we'll get back to contact later. Okay, so here's our categories. And as you can see, this is a parent category, and this little dash here, and the fact that this American is indented, that means this is a child category of this category. Okay, and we could actually take these child categories and make them parents of other categories. For example, I could have Harley Davidson and Thomas and Thor and Henderson motorcycles be categories again, and then each inside of those categories I could have the different models of each of those bikes, okay? And then from the different models of each of those bikes I could make those categories again, and then have within that different years for those different models. See how you can just keep stepping it out and stepping it out? But I think for our purposes, this will be just fine as far as having this as our parent category and these are as our child categories. Okay? All right, so now let's make some articles. So let's look at our sitemap. Okay. So all of these here are going to be articles. Okay? Same with these ones here. All these ones here, articles, okay? Now, and I want an about will also be an article in itself, okay? So let's look at what I have set up, okay? Okay, where are we at here? There we go. I have this folder set up right here, okay? And I've got, for example, this folder here called Old Bikes, and then I have all these different motorcycles here, okay? And of course those correspond to the articles I'm going to make. And in each one of these, I have, for example, here is Harley Davidson. I have some pictures of some vintage Harley Davidson motorcycles, right? Okay, and then I have a little write-up here. Now the write-ups I just grabbed from Wikipedia, and I'll go ahead and cite that I've grabbed, you know, all the content from Wikipedia for these write-ups. And again, this site's just being built for educational purposes, and as long as I cite the source, Wikipedia allows you to do that. So that's what I'm going to do. And so for every article I make, I already have, again, here's Henderson motorcycles. You know, I've got these pictures of old Henderson motorcycles. Just look at that. And then I've got a little write-up here about Henderson motorcycles, okay? And they're somewhat divided up between, little headings here. So obviously I could make this, an H2 heading, and then here's my paragraph, right? And anyway, so I'm already pretty set up like that. And I also have this little intro thing here for the about page. And my about page is going to kind of have a dual purpose, because I'm going to give a little brief history of motorcycles, because this is a site about motorcycles, but also let everyone know that this website was built in Joomla and it's part of an instructional series. Okay, so that's going to be the about page. So let's go ahead and create an about article. Okay, so we go up to Content, Article Manager. And as you can see, we just have the one welcome article so far. So we need to create a new article, and so we do that by going to the new button right here. Okay, so we're going to call this about. Okay, and let's see, what's some things we can notice. Category, we want to set this to be the about category. Okay, and let's see, what else should we go over right now? Well, yeah, that's probably okay at the moment. As far as these features, I would just leave most of these right now the way they are. Okay, now for the content, like I said, I already have that, and I'm going to just go ahead and grab it, okay, copy it, and throw it in here, and clean it up a little bit. Okay, and so there we go. And I might add more to this, or take some out, and we'll see. But for now, let's just go ahead and publish this, give it a menu item, and then we'll take a look at it. All right, so I'm going to go to Save and Close. Okay, there we go. So we have the About article. Okay, and it is in the category About. Okay, so let's go ahead and just give that a menu item right now. So remember, we create categories, and then we create articles, and then we link those articles to menu items. And we, of course, have to create that menu item. So you can just go to Main Menu at New, but I'm going to go ahead and take us to the Menu Manager first. Okay, and our main menu here is this menu right here. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Okay, there we go. And right now we just have the home. And so we need to create a new menu item. Okay, there we go. And we need to, well, give it a title, right? And we want that to be about. Okay, and again, this title here is going to show up right here. Okay, and let's see here. Now we need to select what type of menu item this is going to be. We have a lot of options here. Okay, look at this. All kinds of options going on. But under articles, still a ton of options. But we're going to keep it nice and simple and link to a single article. Okay, it knows that we're linking to a single article now, but it needs to know which article. So right here, select the article, and then we just select an article. And we only have two choices here, so I'm going to select the About. Okay, now look over here where it says Menu Location. Okay, there's a user menu set up as well. We'll get there. We'll get there. But for now, the main menu, this is our main menu, okay? And when we start to get into modules, you'll see that we can actually set menus up all over the place, okay? But this is our main menu, okay? And again, just like categories can have parent and children category settings, we can also do the same thing with our menu items. All right, we want this to be a root menu item, meaning we want it to show up right here. We don't want it to show up as a drop down menu or anything like that. We want it to be a menu item root. Okay, and it is going to be published, and I think that we can actually leave everything else just the way it is and go ahead and save and close. There we go. So let's go ahead and refresh this page. Okay, so now we have a home and we have an about. And there's our about page. Okay, easy enough. And it does not look very nice. First up, we have this image here, which is a nice image, but it doesn't go with our theme at all. And we have a bunch of extra stuff everywhere that I really don't need on this page. And we're going to eventually get to cleaning everything up. But for now, we are successful in having a menu item link to this particular article right here. And this article is within, like it even says right here, the About category. Okay, so that's a pretty big step right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to our control panel now. Okay, so I'm back in my control panel now, and let's look at the sitemap again here. My map. Okay, and the next one here is going to be motorcycles. Okay, so motorcycles. I want to have a menu item that you can click on that just says motorcycles, and then we'll have what this little write-up I have here on, you know, the history of motorcycles. Okay, so what I need to do then is create, we already created the motorcycle category, and so now I want to create a motorcycle article. Okay, and we're going to call that motorcycles. Okay, motorcycles. And we're going to put that in the category of motorcycles. And I'm just going to grab this content. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and just stick it in here. Okay. And it's actually quite a mess right now, but that's okay because we're going to do a lot of formatting here in a few minutes, and we're going to upload, you know, some images and, you know, make these different headings and paragraphs, you know, formatted really nicely. Okay, so and I'll get rid of this citations here from Wikipedia. We are going to cite Wikipedia as the place where we've mined all this content from, but I want the text itself to be nice and clean. Okay, so here we go, motorcycles, and we're going to go into a bit about the steam-powered bicycles. Believe it or not, there was steam-powered bicycles, and then after that we'll go into what's considered perhaps the first true combustion engine motorcycle. Okay, so let's go ahead and save and close. Okay, and so here we go, but of course it's not going to show up on our front page yet because we need to assign it to a menu item. So I'm going to go to main menu because I know I want this to be on the main menu, and go to add new menu item. Okay, and the same exact thing again. We're going to keep this in the main menu. We're going to make it a menu item root just like before, and we're going to select the type of menu. Oh, by the way, see how I can hover over you know, these different areas, and it actually gives me a tooltip? Yeah, that's pretty nice. Okay, so anyway, I wonder if you can do that here as well. Nope, but anyway, you can over here, and we'll let you know what exactly these things are. Okay, yeah, so that's really helpful. Anyway, let's go ahead and select our menu type, and this will once again be a single article. Okay, now I know that's a single article, but what kind of article? Or which article, I should say. And it's going to be the motorcycles article. And, okay, we have to give it a name here too, so, yep, motorcycles. It knows I've already written that, so it's expecting it, so that's why those little pop drop downs happen like that. And I'm going to go ahead and, yep, save and close. Okay, and let's go over here and view the site. Alright, there's our third menu item on our main menu up on top. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Alright, and here's our little write-up here about steam-powered bicycles and the first motorcycle. No formatting whatsoever done yet, okay? Of course, I want to make these, you know, heading, this will be my heading 1 up here in that size. I'll make this, you know, an H2 heading 2, and, you know, we'll divide up all this and make it look really nice, and throw some pictures in here as well, okay? But, as you can see, things are coming right along. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back now to the, control panel. Okay, let's look at the sitemap. So we have, okay, the home, right? And that's this home here. And then we have an about, and the about is within, it links to the about article, which is in the about category. And then we have motorcycles, which links to this page right here, which is within the motorcycles category. And what I want to do now is set it up so that when I hover over the motorcycles menu item, the categories for American, Japanese, and British motorcycles will pop down right here. Okay, and then when I click on one of those, I'd like it to take me to a page that gives me a collection of articles. Okay, for example, if I click on the if I hover over motorcycles, I want, you know, the American one to drop down. And if I click on that, it's going to take me to a page that has all of these motorcycles on it. But what I want to do is set it up so that there's just the title and an image to each one of these motorcycles. And then if I click on the title or the image, it's going to take me to the actual article about that motorcycle. And the reason I want to do it that way is because it's a very organized way to go. I mean, look at how many of the British bikes I have. If we didn't have it set up that way, maybe I would hover over motorcycles and my categories, American, British, and Japanese, would pop down. And then when I hover over the British, this huge list would drop down, okay? And I don't want to do that. And so this is, I think, a nice organized way to go. And I can introduce category blogs that way. So what I want to do now is go ahead and set up one of the articles here within the American category, okay? And then we'll create, I'll do a couple. And then we'll set up a menu item that links to an entire category. So coming back over to the article manager, or I can just create a new article. Okay, and let's see here. What should we start out with? Well, we're starting out with American bikes, so we might as well start out with Harley Davidson. And what category? It's in the American bikes category. See, there's 2 dashes there, right? Because remember, it is actually the motorcycles here is the parent one, and the American is a child of that. Okay. Now I do have some content ready to go. Let's see, where are we at? Old bikes, Harley, right up, and it's a pretty big right up there. Okay. Perhaps don't need quite that much information, but hey, why not? It's a content management system. We can easily manage this much content. Now, okay, it's kind of messy here, so I'm going to clean it up a little bit. And yeah, well, we'll go back actually here just in a few minutes and do some real article formatting to all the articles we have before we get too, you know, lost in creating articles here. But I'm just, for the sake of doing it, I'm going to clean this up just a touch. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay, we'll get there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, yep, and save and close. Okay, and you know, maybe I didn't need to save and close actually, because I want to create one more American bike. Okay, and let's see, which should we do here? Let's grab Thor next, okay? A very old bike. Okay, Thor. Alright, Thor, and Thor's an American bike. And I've got some content for that right here. Okay. Okay. Thor. Okay, great. Okay, I actually did not get this from Wikipedia. I got this from the Aurora Automatic Machinery website. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and link back to them, and we'll do that when I show you how to create links. Okay, so Yep, let's go ahead and save and close. Okay, so we've got Thor motorcycles, which is an American category. We have Harley Davidson, which is an American category. Now, let's go back over to the menu manager. Okay, and go to the main menu. Okay, now what I want to do is create a menu item for American motorcycles. And I want that to link to the category itself, not to an individual item, an individual article, because I've got a bunch, okay? And this is, I think, a better way to organize this. So how I do it is I, create a new menu item, and we're going to call this, American. Okay, all right. And what kind of menu item? It's going to link to a category blog, okay? And it wants to know what category, and we're going to link to the American bikes, okay? Menu location, main menu. However, we don't want it to be a menu item root. We want it to be a child of the motorcycle menu item. Okay, so you'll see what I mean here in a second. So American, yes, we'll go through all these, when we eventually. Don't worry. I'm going to go ahead and just hit save. Okay, and now I'm going to go back over here and refresh this page. And it looks like nothing happened, except, look at that. When I hover over it, I can click on motorcycles, or I have the option to go into the American category. And if I click on that, it takes me here, and I've got Thor motorcycles, and I've got Harley Davidson, and the Harley one's huge, right? That's okay, because we're going to format all of that. No problem. Throw in images, divide it up. There's a way to where we can say that we only want the title and an image, and if we want a little intro right up here, and that's it. And we can literally cut it off right here. And you can click on something that says read more, and that will take you to the whole article. So we don't have to, once we, as you can imagine, if we had all the American bikes on one list, it would just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll forever. Well, we're kind of scrolling forever, but we're going to clean that up. But you can see now how we can organize all this content, right? We have our home, we have our about page, we have our motorcycle page, or we can go to the American page. And of course, we're going to have British and Japanese set up here as well. And then we're going to do the same thing with our news and events page, because we're going to be able to hover over that, and it'll take us to different categories of news and events. All right. So, yeah, let's go ahead and now that, I'm going to do a lot more here. As you can imagine, let's look at my sitemap here. I have to set up all these pages under American motorcycles, all these ones for the Japanese, and all these ones for the British, and I'm going to make them child menu items and of this menu item here. And of course, each one of these are going to be linked to a category blog. I'm going to repeat the exact same steps that I just did when I made the American motorcycle here with the two different articles within that category. So I'm going to repeat a lot of steps right now, and that's going to take a little bit to do. So there's no reason to actually show you how to do all of this over and over and over and over and over again, because it's going to be really similar as I lay that out. So what I'm going to end up doing is creating articles for these other American motorcycles and assigning them to the American category. Okay, and we already have a menu item here for that, and so automatically, remember this was a category blog menu item, and so they're going to just be added to this long list here. Okay, and then of course we'll clean those up so that it's not this huge giant scroll right here of text. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the Japanese bikes. Okay, I'm going to make the articles for the Japanese bikes and assign them to the Japanese article. And then I'm going to create another menu item, and that menu item is going to be a category blog, and I'm going to name that menu item Japanese. So I'll be able to have the American, and then down below will be another drop down for Japanese bikes, and I'm going to do the same thing for British bikes. Okay, and by the way, I'm not even doing these in any particular order of importance here, what my favorite motorcycles are, anything like that. Although I sure do love these bikes. Okay, anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. And then for the gallery as well, I'm going to, create a menu item here, and I'll go over all of this again, and then I'll create these different articles here that I'm going to put different galleries in. All right, I'm going to do that, and this here will be a menu item that links to these here, and then we'll do the same thing right here. And then after I build it all, I'll go through the menu items and the categories and the articles and show you exactly what they are and exactly what I did. But it's so redundant just doing that it'll take forever for you to sit here and watch me do it, and they're literally the same exact steps over and over again. Okay, so I'm going to flash forward into the future right now, and I'll be back. Okay, and we're back. And as you can see, my menu items up here, well, my main menu's increased quite a bit. All right, and let's see. I'm going to click on motorcycles. And as you remember, we had the drop down for American, and this is a category blog, right? And then now I can go ahead and click on any of these. For example, I'll click on Japanese, and it takes me to a collection of articles. All right, so let's go ahead and see what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and let's go to my menu. So we'll go to the main menu. Okay, so we set up the home page, right? We set up the about page, which of course links to a single article. We set up the motorcycle menu item, which of course was a single article. And I'm going to go ahead and click back on that. And I've got some content here talking about the history of motorcycles. Okay, and then if I hover, I have these different drop downs right here. Okay, now let's see, what are these drop downs? You might remember because we started setting up the American one already, and it was a category blog. All right, now what I've done is I've added quite a bit more. So if I click on the American one, it's giving me this category blog is actually giving me all of the articles within the American category. And as you can see, I've got quite a few here. Big, long write-ups, all kinds of stuff going on here, right? And there's even several pages of it. Now, we're going to clean all of this up. You know, ideally what I'd like is just a title and a little picture here, and that's it. And maybe a little write-up that says, you know, oh, this so-and-so motorcycle from this year. And then when you click on that, it'll take you just to that article. Okay, so that's going to be a really nice organized way to handle this content. Okay, and again, we're going to go and format all this text and stuff so that we have, you know, headings, you know, an H2 heading and nice paragraphs, and you know, we'll embed some videos and all kinds of fun stuff. And so I've done that with all three of these. So let's look. We have, whoops, the motorcycle menu item links to a single article. Then the drop-down menus that occur are the all category blogs. Okay, each one of those menu items is a category blog, and when you click on that category blog, it takes you to a page where all of the articles within that particular category are displayed. Okay, for example, the American, the Japanese, or the British motorcycles. All right, now something I'd like to show you right now. Notice how when I go up here and hover, this drops down. However, if I come over here, okay, so now, and I hover, see how nothing drops down? Okay, now we're going to get really deep into modules here coming up in a couple of weeks. But I want to make a change to the settings in a menu module right now so that these drop down, because that's just something I want to happen. Okay, so what's a module? A module is basically it's a division on the Joomla website, okay? And you can have all kinds of things inside your module. For example, this is a module, and we have this login form right here, okay? This right here is a module, and it's a latest articles module. This is an image module, all right? And we're going to be changing that very soon. And then right here, this is a main menu module, okay? So let's just look at modules for a quick minute here. Extensions, module manager. And we have a whole bunch of modules right here, okay? And anyway, remember that? Remember how you have to check in again? You know, maybe I should go ahead and just check in. Remember, that's all you do is check it and check in. And it just means that I was there and didn't save. And if you're working on the site with multiple people, then you're going to need to do that. And so you will see those pop up. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of modules here, and like I said, we're not going to get too deep into this right now, but here's a breadcrumbs module, right? Here's our breadcrumbs module. What else? Image module. Okay, there's the image module. There's that image module. Okay, but what we're interested in is the main menu module, and I'm going to click on that. And I have all kinds of options in here. We're going to dive into those for sure, but all I want to do right now is see this one that says show sub-menu items. I want to change that to yes, okay? And then hit save. Okay, now I'm going to come over here and refresh. And let's try it out. There we go, just like that, okay? And for now, I want it to do that, okay? And yeah, we have over here too with our news and events, okay? So let's go, so that was a nice little introduction to what's coming, right? And feel free to explore all you want in the module manager right now. But it's kind of easy, so let's go ahead and close out of that. It's kind of easy at this early stage to see at least how these few modules here correspond to the front right here, right? So, you know, you can actually go ahead, for example, if we open up the image module here, you can see that image. And actually, all you have to do is replace that image, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and put a header in there in a minute, but just go ahead and take some time to explore that, all the different options in the menu manager or the module manager, and see how they correspond out here, okay? Because that's really what's going on with Joomla. Is there's just all these little areas that are divided up. Again, that's what Joomla does, is it divides and organizes content. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to jump in there and change my drop downs. Don't worry, we are going to get deep into modules coming up. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to, let's go to the categories. Category manager. Now, let me show you something interesting I did here. Okay, so we have news and events. That's a category, right? And then we have early innovations with the child of this category, of the parent category, news and events. And then we have races and competitions, which is a child category of the parent category, news and events. Okay, no problem, right? We got that. This is the parent category, and these are the two child categories, okay? But notice that when I go to the menu manager again, main menu, notice that I have news and events as a category blog. Okay. Now remember when we had motorcycles, the motorcycles here, this was a single article. Remember, I'll click on that. History of motorcycles, right? And then the drop downs all go to category blogs, the American category blog, the Japanese category blog, and the British category blog. Now, if I click on news and events, it breaks up into something a little different here, okay? And the reason why is because I made, news and events is a category blog itself. And then it has category blogs right here, which are childs of that, okay? So when we click on this, we are getting a little bit different scene than when we click on motorcycles, because that takes us to a single article. This takes me to a category blog that contains child category blogs, okay? Early innovations and races and competitions. Okay, so I'll be able to add more content to this. So maybe my plan will be to have early innovations and then a little write-up on here, a little image. You know, click here for, you know, the latest news in cutting-edge motorcycle technology, such as the steam-powered bicycle, right? Or the this just in, the internal combustion engine bicycle. Okay, and so that is a way to further divide up content. All right, and it's nothing to it at all. It's nothing we haven't seen already. The only difference is instead of having a single article as the menu item, I actually have a category blog as the menu item. Let's look. News and events is a category blog. And then I've got two child category blogs again, okay? So instead of clicking on the main menu item, going to a single article with options to drop down to category blogs, this time I've made it so when you click here, it takes you to a category blog that links to two more category blogs. And so rather than having it linked to a bunch of articles, for example, like this category blog links to all the American motorcycle articles, this category blog links to just two more category blogs. Okay, that's why this says subcategories here, okay? And of course right now it says there are no articles in this category. If subcategories display on this page, they may contain articles. Of course, this is just default hint right here that Joomla gave me, and I'm certainly going to get rid of that. Okay, so let's kind of recap here. So I've got my, whoops, he was jumping. Okay, so I've got my home menu, and remember that was just a single article that had the welcome on it. I've got a single article about, which is a little bit about motorcycles and about the site, but then also explaining that this is a training course. And then I've got my motorcycle single article giving us the history of the early motorcycles. And then below that menu item, we have three category blogs. Each one of those category blogs links to all the articles within that category. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and look. Oh, yes, the gallery is once again, let's go back there again. The gallery is, just like it says right here, a category blog. And it's going to link to three articles. And in those articles, I'm going to embed galleries. Okay? So those are single articles. Now, then the news and events is a category blog itself. This is a category blog, okay? And then within that parent news and events, I have 2 child category blogs once again. And then each one of those will have articles within them, okay? So that's right there is how you set up categories, articles, and menu items within Joomla. Now, although we are going to be diving into using images here very shortly when we format our articles and format all the text, give ourselves headings and start to embed all kinds of images all over the place. But I think it's time to go ahead and get rid of this default image right here. So let me give you a brief introduction to the Media Manager. Okay, so here we are in the Media Manager, and this is where all of our images are going to be kept. And as you can see, they're divided up into folders. Now, see up here, you can create new folders, and I absolutely recommend creating folders and keeping your images separate. Okay, not every single image, but for example, I'm going to have images for the American bikes, and images for the British bikes, and images for the image gallery, okay? And some galleries that you will install in Joomla will require your folder to be named a specific way. Let's go ahead and jump into the headers folder here. Oh, look at that. There's that blue flower right there, okay? So that gives you a pretty good idea of where this image is sitting, right? Okay, so what I'd like to do is, now there's a lot of different ways to do this, but see how it says upload right here? I'm going to upload a new image. Okay, and I get to choose my files here. And let's see, I've got header right here. And there we go. I'm going to grab this header and upload it. And there we go. Now, you notice how it's Triumph underscore header is the name. I'm going to recommend that you have very clean names for all your images. Very, what do I mean by clean names? You know how if you just grab an image off of Google Images, sometimes it can just be a really long string of numbers, .jpeg, like 10 numbers or a bunch of spaces and just long name. Maybe it was generated by some other blog that was uploaded there and then given, a name according to the file structure, or it's just taken off of a camera and so it's just named, like 6 numbers.image, or image 6 numbers.jpg, something really hard to memorize. I recommend renaming all your images to something quite easy, because there are times when you might try and reference an image using HTML, just like we did during the HTML section of our course. And so, as I'm sure you remember, it's nice to have a very simple image name. So just a heads up there. Okay, so anyway, here we are. We are in the Media Manager, and we have one image uploaded right here. And we're going to go through and clean everything up, and I'm going to give you a nice rundown on the entire Media Manager. But I'm sure all of you are wondering right now, how do we get rid of that blue flower? Nothing wrong with that image, it's nice, but it has nothing to do with vintage motorcycles. Okay, so, and there's our nice Triumph. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to go to the module manager, because if you remember, these are all modules, and there was one called the image module. Okay, so let's go to the module, the image module. And if you're confused about this, don't worry. We're going to go through modules like you wouldn't believe coming up. We're even going to be making our own custom modules. And to be honest, this is a custom module. Now, since you've already gone through the HTML part of our course, watch when I flip over this editor. See that? You recognize all of that, no problem, okay? And honestly, we could just switch the name right here in the code, and that Triumph would pop right up, okay? But I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I'm going to select that image, and I'm just going to hit delete, okay? And it's gone. Now, see down here where it says image? If I select that, and I go into these headers, and I select my Triumph. Okay, see how it popped up right here, the image URL. Okay, I'm just going to click Insert. And there it is. If I toggle the editor, look, there it is, triumph_header.jpg. And I could actually change that right now back to blue flower if I wanted. Okay, now see the alt text here is not filled out. I'm going to add that, and I'm just going to say, oh, vintage Triumph. Okay, just like that, no problem. And toggle back. There it is. Let's go ahead and save this. Module saved successfully, and let's go ahead and refresh. There we go. Now at least our Zoo City Racers site has a motorcycle on there. Am I going to keep it like this? No. Let me tell you what, as an old school graphic designer, this site is killing me. It looks terrible. But remember, just like when we made our little HTML websites, when we kind of were doing that 1990s style design there, just laying out the HTML, and then we got our CSS going and we styled it. Okay, we're going to do that on an epic level here. And honestly, I'm not going to have this here at all. I want a big, huge image right here that changes, you know, like fades in and out of different motorcycles. Maybe we'll have some text drop down here that gives us a tagline about Zoo City Racers. And you know, I'm really envisioning some squares down here that have like links to different motorcycles, and maybe it rotates or you hover over it and they light up and you can click on them. It's gonna look really nice. But it was just time to get rid of that flower, and everybody, when they first get in here, that's the first thing they want to do is put their own header up. So there you go. And as far as the size, I did actually crop it to be this exact size in Photoshop. And if you look at our the Web Design Zoo website, there is a video there on some alternative image cropping techniques that you can use. For example, just going to a website, if you just do a Google search for image crop too, you'll find a ton of these online free websites that you can crop images in. Okay, and so if you're not a Photoshop user, don't worry, you certainly don't need to be. And there is a video tutorial on there on how to do free image editing. Anyway, so here's our website so far. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this Zoo City Racers website up on our Web Design Zoo site. So when you go there, you can actually explore this and see what I've done so far and watch the changes as they take place. And by the end of this course, this is going to be one sharp looking motorcycle website.